Video is connected to the October 1st remote class, which focuses predominantly on how to find and package data in the real world for use in ArcPro. The last video focused on engaging census data, both the information and the geography, and how we pull that into ArcPro. This one will be a little broader, and it's really about how we just get shapefiles, right? How we get data that someone else has already created for us. And there's not much to this video from a methodology or process standpoint, outside of just covering a couple of key Pennsylvania and Philly-based resources, and then just trying to give you some tips for how you take that and broaden it to anywhere that you are working. But there's really two resources I want to share with you for this, and they are PASDA and Open Data Philly. And really what each of these are effectively like spatial data warehouses where city governments, state governments, nonprofits, so on and so forth, just load different sorts of data, sometimes tabular, sometimes geographic, that anyone can then access and download and pull into GIS for their own processes. And so again, there's not much to it other than that. You can browse the kind of stuff that you want, or you can sort of look for things. I'll type SEPTA to see if I could find anything. And right there's some cool SEPTA stuff. I can see the high-speed lines, I can see the stations, the regional rail lines. Maybe I'll download the rail lines. Come on here to download. It'll do its thing. And I'll see if I can take that, drag it to my desktop. Right click and archive it. And then if I were to come, into Pro and perhaps take a blank set here, unless this is a corrupt piece of data, which again, I don't know, I haven't really looked at it. I'll refresh, and I should be able to see a folder about SEPTA, the regional rail lines. I can drag them, and here I go. Now I've got a nice map that shows it. Now, what are two questions we should always ask ourselves? Well, what's this projected in, for one? And two, what are the attributes? And this is going to become more important when you start looking at your own data and not data that I give you. If you were to go to the properties here, you can see that this happens to be in the the spatial reference and coordinate system of the state plane, Pennsylvania, sort of south. So we're all good there. It's got sort of the one that we want. We've got a degree unit of feet, no problem. Excellent. Gives us what we need to do. Then I can come in and look at the attributes, which just again tells me what I have available to me for each of the lines. And what I have is some sort of peak service, time, percent. I'm not actually sure what percent MI sort of means. The line name, the label. And theoretically they should have information on this website. Used to have like a metadata thing. I'm not sure where that happens to be. Yeah, again, I can't find where it used to be, but it used to be. Oh, there it is, metadata. Which typically sometimes when you click these, they can at least tell you what the fields are. There's no guarantee, but you can sort of search here and try to find what each of the attributes are, and they'll usually give you sort of a brief description of what you're looking at here. And that's it. I mean, that's PASDA. It's nothing complex. You just sort of search what you need, you download, you zip it, and then you can drag it into ArcGIS. And nothing's going to change too much from Open Data Philly, outside it being a more Philly-specific resource. But it's the same thing. This is an open source portal that was created started by Azavia as just a way for different organizations within Philadelphia to load information and data. And it's the same way. You can search for things and pull it in. You can go to food and browse. And maybe we'll find farmers markets locations. And you've got some options here. In a video in a little while, we'll learn what this word KML means. But you should typically have this, right, a shape. You can click on it, and you can explore and download the resources from here. Explore, go to resource, typically should download it. There it is, downloading the farmer's market. And the same thing, you're able to then take that and you're able to load it into ArcGIS or ArcGIS Pro. So that's it. There's nothing too complex about these two sites. But how to extrapolate that's beyond Philly, almost every city that you'll work in is going to have an open data portal at this point. And so wherever you go, one of your first steps should be open data, wherever. Right? And that will show you what resources there are there. If you can't find that, you can search my city, GIS. Or you can even get really deep into it. What I'm looking for, shapefile. The point is that so much of this is online now that you are able to almost find anything that you would need, that has already been sort of loaded. And so, don't assume that it's only Philadelphia, obviously, that has these portals. They'll really be in sort of any geography in any city.